What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about the challenge season 36, Double Agents, episode 16. So we are almost to the finish line. Thank God. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and I swear every time I go to watch this, my parents are like, that show still hasn't ended. And sorry, mom and dad, it still hasn't. Next week is the finale, or the week after that?
Well, see, okay, that's what I wanted to bring up because this week was a 43-minute episode, so a 1 hour time slot. Usually it's a longer episode. So it's like, why didn't they just combine next week and this week? Because it seems like next week, since this week was a women's elimination, that it will just be another straight men's elimination. So daily challenge, deliberation, crater challenge, men goes home. Then the week after is the final. So like, why was there not a double elimination this week? So then we can go straight to the final. Why did you not just, I don't know, vote two teams in, or you have CT and Kyle go also because they were the two teams going in? I'm like, why are you dragging this out, MTV? Just like finish it already.
It's probably just because they don't have another thing to fill the time slot. Or possibly the Challenge All Stars started streaming this week, so it's
Yeah.
possible that they wanted to do a shorter episode, so then people would be like, "Man, I wish there was more of the challenge. I guess I'll go stream All Stars on Paramount Plus."
Which I
So,
wonder, like, because that show just started, and from like the Reddit reactions and like other reactions, it seems like the premiere was like super great. If anyone has links where we can watch without buying Premiere Plus, like Paramount Plus, let us know, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy a whole nother streaming service, but like it seems like everyone is enjoying that. And so people are going to stop viewing the end of this season if they're getting bored and then just watch the All Stars season on Paramount. So I don't know why you would overlap the finale of one season and then start a new season on a streaming service, like when you have 2 or 3 weeks left of this season here.
yeah, I don't know either, but I I rarely understand what companies are doing. So, anyways, this week's episode started with my favorite team ever training together. I love this so much, but also it was so redundant. I was texting Rachel when this was happening. I'm talking about Big T and CT in case you guys don't follow our podcast and do not know that I love their partnership so much. I was so sad when they got split up. I was so happy when they got put back together. And I was so happy this episode to see them training together. But anyways, we saw this already.
Last
We
week.
saw them training together.
Yeah, I thought like this training segment was cool. It was sort of weird that like they kept doing throwback montages to fill the time. Like, yo, it's already a 43-minute episode. You can't even fill the time without two montages. Here we have a training montage, and then right before the crater challenge, there's another montage. Like, we just watched these episodes, but I thought this was really cute. I thought it was really cool that like Big T and CT, they realize it, like what Big T's weaknesses are, and they are doing something to fix it and train, rather than some other people that have weaknesses. They know they have some less strong suits in the challenges, and then they just never do anything about it. So I thought it was cool that they would like put the time in, wake up early, and like try to fix the things that Big T is lacking in.
Yeah, I think it might be one of those cases where it seems like it's a little too late for them, but
For this season, right? I'm like hoping, okay, maybe Big T and CT can hang out in the off season right now and maybe they can work out, or like Big T will just use these trainings that she's learned and work out more during the off season to train, because like CT said, I do think like Big T has the potential to be such a great competitor, and like she's already good TV, and now she just needs some more like cardio, I guess, other muscles or whatever that they're training for. And yeah, CT was right. Big T is trainable. So I think if she trains on the off season, she can come back stronger and better than ever.
yeah, I think it was really great that he said the things that Big T has already are the things that you can't train for. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's really kind of what it comes down to, because you can't train for like being good TV or like being a good person and a good partner, but you can train for like running better. And so I think if Big T does seriously want to come back to the challenge, I think she'll do what Rachel said and like start training some in the off season.
Exactly. You can't train to be a better person, more sociable, I guess, if you're like introverted. But yeah, weightlifting, running, all things people can do in their free time. So that was a cute segment. We go into the daily challenge, which is called Mission Global Domination. And because of the uneven number of teams, one team gets to go in and go twice. And so the last, like the double agents, get to pick to choose who gets to go in twice. And so obviously, Casey and Leroy, who won last week, get to pick themselves, which I feel like low key gives them an unfair advantage because then they end up winning this daily challenge because they had 2 tries at it. But I'm also, I don't know, I feel like maybe it should have been random. It's like throughout the whole season, the daily double agent winners, they get to like pick the order or like this, like who gets to go twice. And that's we've seen on other seasons of the challenge. But I don't know, especially because Kyle and Amber B are and like Big T and CT are being targeted so much. They're like doubly disadvantaged now versus a team that gets to go twice.
Yeah, I think it's also, they didn't say which of Leroy and Casey's runs was the one that had the higher number, which I thought was, I don't want to say interesting, but questionable, because it could have been that like they didn't even need the second run and it turns out that their first run was higher anyway. And I would feel better knowing that, because then it would seem less unfair to me. But I don't know. You could also argue that it's harder when you have to go twice because that's more like work on your body or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're more tired because like you're going in twice. So then you're slower
Yeah,
maybe
except
the
for
second time.
everyone is still in the balls. It's just you would be on defense instead of offense. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how like you fix that, I guess, because it's like, okay, sort of like in real life when you see like people, they get this advantage because they won and then they like keep getting advantages because this has helped them to win again, and then next week they're going to get to choose the order or something like that again, and maybe that will help them win next week. So like, I don't know, it just seems like it's a cycle of you have this advantage and you're going to keep using it, and then it helps you like low key keep winning over and over.
Yeah, it's like a feedback loop, which kind of sucks. But
Which,
like, I do think that Casey and Leroy are a really strong physical team, which is part of why it's frustrating, because I think they could possibly still win even without all these extra advantages.
yeah, 5 wins, like that is super awesome. Plus, like Cam is helping Casey and Leroy. So, like, that's an even bigger advantage because they're not getting blocked and like people aren't going to block Casey and Leroy in the ball. So, yeah, I don't know. Just feels bad for Kyle and Amber and Big T and CT. And I was low-key rooting for one of them to win so that the majority alliance would have to throw in one of their own because that's always way more interesting. And so I was like, feels bad, man. The 2 teams that are more disadvantaged are the ones that need to win it this time. Otherwise, they're getting sent into the crater.
Yeah, and that's basically what happened, which is kind of lame, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, 1 target separated the top 3 teams. And I was like, okay, Amber and Kyle, let's go. I want to see you win so you don't get thrown in. And then we don't get that. So Casey and Leroy win it again. So super awesome for them. They are safe from getting stolen. And so basically, like we said last week, you know, Kyle and Amber and Big T and CT are probably the teams that are going to get sent into the crater because Casey and Leroy, as the winners, they have like their untouchables as a big brother word of people that they're saving. So like Leroy isn't going to throw in his girlfriend, Cam. And so by virtue, then Corey is safe because they're partners. Casey is not going to throw in Fessy. And then Leroy is also not going to throw in Nany. And so Nany and Fessy are partners, which only leaves two other teams in Amber and Kyle and Big T and CT to go in. And at least I thought it was cool that like Amber and Kyle and Big T and CT realized this and they were trying to come together to like make a tie rather than like just letting themselves get thrown in or something.
Yeah, and like I'm not sure that making it a tie would have actually helped. And I think CT eventually votes for Kyle to make it not a tie. And I honestly think that was a smarter strategic move. So,
yeah, I felt like it does make more sense to flip because you're potentially like throwing in Kyle. CT says that he wants to go in against Kyle because Kyle is the easier person to beat. But I feel like, I don't know, I wish we would see people take more risks. Seems like people were scared of making it a tie because they wouldn't know what would happen. Probably then the power would go to the double agents and the double agents get to break the tie and throw in another person into the crater. So just seems like everyone is scared of the unknown. But I don't know. It seems like CT was going to get sent in either way, whether it was a tie or whether Casey and Leroy threw him in. So breaking the tie, flipping on Kyle doesn't really change anything in the long run, I feel like.
I think the thing is, though, if it was a hall brawl and he was going against like Fessy versus going against Kyle, who do you have a better chance of beating? So I think if it had been a guy's day, I do think that flipping on Kyle would have definitely made a difference for CT. But since it wasn't a guy's day, I'm not sure how much of a difference it made.
I think either way, like flipping or not, because if it were the tie, then Leroy and Casey would still vote in Kyle, and then CT would be the crater vote anyway. So I feel like no way is Leroy and Casey voting in Fessy and Nany if the tie was between Fessy and Kyle's teams. Like, so I feel like it at the end of the day, it was always going to be Kyle versus CT unless one of them won the daily challenge.
Yeah. I don't know, though. It kind of sucked that it's like I both love and hate with a lot of reality TV shows that once you get a certain point down the line, it's kind of like nothing can change because it's interesting because it makes you definitely think more at the beginning of the game, but it's also frustrating because it's like if your favorites get screwed once, they end up getting screwed over and over. So
I think, yeah, you can't fault CT for flipping and playing for himself. Like, that is probably the better move because you would rather go against Kyle versus Fessy, especially if it is like a hall brawl, if it's the same hall brawl challenge next week or whatever. So, you know, it makes sense. You can't really fault him. Would have loved to see a tie, though, for like TV show purposes. I want to know the rules. Like, what happens? So, I really just wish we saw a tie for like drama. But at the end of the day, it was always probably Kyle and CT's teams going in there, which I'm like, big sad. Wish one of them won the daily challenge.
Yeah, but it's like even if one of them won the daily challenge, I feel like it still would have ended up maybe the same way. But
I guess it would be the losing team versus either Cam and Corey or Nany. I guess Leroy's team would be in there too. So they would have to pick one of their own to vote in, which that makes it interesting. I want to see the majority alliance broke up. And so, like, with breaking up, we see Amber B sort of realizing that everyone is only out for themselves. Amber is sort of angry, I guess, that the Big Brother people are turning on her, which I think maybe we could have saw coming because like Casey and Fessy were on the same Big Brother season and Josh won season 19 and Casey and Fessy were on season 20. So it's like they're all close together. But, you know, Amber was on season 16 and like, I don't know, I feel like Amber really isn't that big in the Big Brother like universe or whatever, like hanging out outside. So I guess you could have saw that coming because of their season differences. But I felt like I was sort of annoyed when Fessy calls Amber B entitled and then he's like, yeah, she's a rookie. We dragged her all the way here. You should be grateful that you made it this far, Amber B. And I was like,
oh my God, I
Fessy,
rolled my
stop.
eyes. That's the whole point of having an alliance, is that you help each other. Like,
Exactly. And it's like, Fessy, you were a rookie last season, and some people say that like you're a rookie until your third season. So technically, if you go by like other what definitions of the word rookie in the challenge, like Fessy, you're only on your second season. You're not like a super vet who has been here 10 years. Like, you're calling Amber B a rookie and saying that she needs to earn her stripes. Like, you haven't even been around that long either.
yeah, I just, it's also frustrating because I feel like you could argue Fessy has been dragged just as much, if not more, as Amber B has. Like, they both won one challenge, and they both won the same crater challenge because they both won a hall brawl. Like, it's not like Amber B ended up winning a crater challenge that was just like nothing serious. Like, she won a hall brawl. It's not like she did nothing to be where she was. And like, yeah, you can argue like, oh, Amber M wasn't that big of a like threat or whatever, but it's like Fessy was like 50 pounds heavier
Yeah.
than Nelson. So it's not like he went up against someone who seriously posed him a challenge in his hall brawl. So it's just like, if anyone is entitled, I feel like it's Fessy, because he's always the one who's like, oh yeah, I'm so great, I'm so cool.
I'm like, mute. It's just so annoying to see. And it like really grinds my gears because like last week he's trying to fight with CT. And then this week I'm like, what is your resume to start calling Amber B entitled? And I'm like, sure, you can say that like she was protected because of the Big Brother alliance, but like you just said, the whole point of an alliance is to like protect your people. If you didn't like Amber B, kick her out of the alliance. You didn't have to protect her just because she was Big Brother. Like, Fessy, I'm like, oh my gosh, too much.
Yeah, I just rolled my eyes out of my head, basically. So,
Yeah. So we see Casey and Amber B talking, and I feel like maybe some like hurt was there because Casey didn't just tell Amber B straight up that they're voting her in, which I get. I feel like if you want to, and we've said this for like everyone else on the challenge, like just tell the person there's like no one else left that we can vote in. Sorry, Amber B, but I have to vote you in, rather than like, yeah, maybe, I'm not sure yet, like being wishy-washy like that, I feel like is getting people into hot water versus if you just said straight up, like Casey saying, rather than in confessional explaining the totem pole, like Casey's saying straight up to Amber, like, sorry, but I'm friends with Nany. I've known Fessy for a while. Like, you're the only other team that we can throw in. Leroy isn't going to throw in his girlfriend. Like, straight up, sorry, but not sorry.
I feel like part of it is too, like, I guess Amber B saw herself as equally close to Casey as everyone else in the Big Brother Alliance was to Casey. And so I think that's hard, because it's like, if you don't realize that you're at the bottom of the totem pole, of course it's going to be hard to realize that, like, oh, someone else is going to be ahead of me, So
Yeah, I think maybe that's Casey's problem, because it does seem like Casey has such a good social game where everyone thinks they're her best friend. And last season it happened too with Bailey from Big Brother, where Casey threw Bailey in when Bailey thought she was like best friends and super cool with Casey. And so this season, same thing, Big Brother. Casey throws in Amber even though they think they're best friends and super close and whatnot. So maybe Casey needs to like step back her social game. Like, it's too good that everyone thinks they're super close and that she wouldn't betray them. But now, like 2 seasons back to back betraying someone, I don't know if like, does that make her nervous, or does that make other challenge competitors nervous? Like, oh, she's too close to people that like if you get close, she's going to backstab you. I don't want to be close to her. Or does that make people like, yeah, Casey's got a good social game. I like her. I want to align with her.
I think it's one of those things where it's probably okay for now, but if she keeps making a habit of it, it's not going to be good for her. If she decides to become one of the like super challenge vets who comes on like 10 times.
Yeah, if you're making a lot of money from it, why stop? So I feel like Casey, Fessy are probably coming back next season. Amber B, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like Fessy and Casey are definitely in it for the long run.
I think it
Sigh.
depends on who wins because like some people might win and then end up being like, you know what, I got my million, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I guess 500,000 split or even less because I think second place, third place, they also get some prize money, which is better though, because I feel like last season sort of sucked because it was split 50-50 down the middle for the first man and the first woman. So then everyone like stopped trying after you knew someone already was like ahead of you or they could have made it to the top already. So I like that they split the money up. So you just don't want to be last and then you probably get $0, but like there is a difference between first, second, and third, so you need to keep trying so you don't get zero. And then there's no point for you to be in the final if you're getting $0. That's like being second boot.
Yeah. I feel like it's dumb, but also it's money. And I feel like there are some vets who have made it clear that, like, yeah, I'm here for the money. Because I feel like you don't do something like this if the money is not your goal. Like, you can say all you want, like, oh, I want the challenge experience, but it's like, you can go to the gym. So,
Alyssa, the challenge is the fifth biggest sport in the US history or whatever. Like whatever that like weird saying is, it's a highly competitive sport. It's like the Olympics practically.
but anyways, um, it ends up being that there's a hall brawl and Big T versus Amber B in the hall brawl. And even though Big T had practiced the hall brawl, she still ends up losing. And I cry.
I really thought it was going to be a men's day. Like last week we just had a women's day. So why did we go to like what is this ordering? They probably just saw CT and Kyle in there and it was like, women's day today, friends. Sucks for you. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I would like to know if it was actually written down somewhere.
yeah, it was like episode 1 when we were going to have CT versus West. They were like, oh, no, we cannot lose one of these boys. Let's send in Ashley and Natalie into this one.
Yeah, so it's just, we're fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I really wish it was a double where we would also see the men do the hall brawl this week. I'm like, quit dragging it out, TJ. Let's just get to the end. And so I was glad that this was a regular hall brawl and not a special one like Amber B and Amber M did. I don't know. I wish we saw Amber B in a different competition. Like, okay, great. Like Amber B did rugby. She's good at hall brawls. But we saw Amber B do 2 hall brawls this season against 2 of quote the smallest people in the house with Amber M and then Big T. I would have loved to see Amber B like in a different kind of challenge so we can see her strengths and weaknesses. Like what else does Amber B have to offer? Doing 2 hall brawls, I'm like, I want to see you do a different challenge, but like she couldn't have picked. I was like, I don't know. Wanted to see her do other stuff, but like that's not up to us.
Yeah, I thought, did they mention earlier that she had done rugby? Because I didn't know that. So,
in the other hall brawl she did, she mentioned it.
of course she did. Honestly, at that point, I was just so happy that Amber M was going home that I didn't care.
Yeah, so Amber B wins against Big T. Amber B, I think it was a smart choice to switch partners and choose Fessy because, like we said last week, Big T made the mistake of not switching partners because picking CT isn't connected with any of the Big Brother or Camroy alliance. So at least now Amber B, by attaching herself to Fessy, even if they don't like each other, she doesn't want to run the final with him. She is like feeling hurt that Fessy and Casey turned on her. I think being partners with Fessy, at least it says 2 people like, hey, if you want to snake me, you have to snake Fessy. And maybe Casey and Leroy and Cam don't want to snake Fessy because they're close with him. So it could potentially like save her next week. But also, I was just, oh my God, when Fessy is like, oh my gosh, all these women want to be my partner. I'm so good.
I rolled my eyes so hard. Like, you're not that cool, Fessy.
It's like, Fessy, they're choosing you because of your relationship with Cam and Casey and Leroy. Like, they know that Casey and Leroy have won 5 daily challenges. They might win next week's too because they get to pick the order or they get the advantage again. And so, like, they're picking you, Fessy, because of your relationships and because you're big. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just, it's fine. We're fine. But I feel like the big story, like, yeah, Amber B picking Fessy was like a decent thing. But the big story is the fact that then Nany picks Kyle.
SMH.
So basically, like, Nany picking Kyle. Kyle doesn't want it because he doesn't think he and Nany work well together. But then everyone else in the house basically doesn't want it because this means that CT is the rogue agent. And CT being the rogue agent means that he cannot be voted down into the crater next week, which means there is like a 99% chance that CT is going to go to the final now. Unless, like, they pull some sort of fuckery, like, CT is probably going to be in the final. And, like, a lot of people are scared of CT being in the final. So
100%. Golden Boy is not getting thrown in to the elimination next week. Production would not do that to him and be like, Rogue Agent can get thrown in this week, friends. Not gonna happen. I think CT is right when he's thinking that he's made it to the final. It was so funny. CT and Kyle both realized that they don't want to be picked because then they probably have the golden ticket punched for the final because they're rogue next week. And next week is 100,000,000% going to be a men's day. You get rid of a guy, and then now you have 8 people, 4 teams, and it's perfect pairings. These dudes, CT and Kyle realize that, and they're like, Nany, do not freaking pick us. It just sucks for Kyle. Like, he's going home. Like, they are going to throw him in again because it doesn't matter who the female partner is. Casey, Cam, Amber B, and Nany all made it to the final. Like, it doesn't matter that he's partners with Nany. Leroy will still throw Kyle in because Nany isn't competing. They have 9 people left. You need to get to 8. Like, I don't know. Nany just wanted to screw over Kyle, but some people are like, Nany is playing 3D chess. She wanted Kyle to be a better partner because she didn't want to be partners with Fessy. But I feel like, I don't know, personally, I don't think Nany was thinking that far ahead. Based on her confessional, she was like, Kyle's fun. I like Kyle. I want to be partners with Kyle because he's fun.
Yeah, it seemed like she wasn't thinking about it. So I guess it sucks to be Kyle.
I'm like, yeah, people were saying, okay, Nany wants the better partner, so she picks Kyle this week. Kyle gets thrown into the elimination again next week because he's not connected to anyone. And then Kyle goes home, and then Nany gets to upgrade partners. But then I'm like, Nany, if you wanted to upgrade partners, why not just pick CT right now? Because you could argue that CT is one of the best partners that you could have because he's run a final before. Even if he's like bossy or controlling and you don't think you'd be good partners with him, I feel like having someone who has won a final and has run a final and is a winner could be very helpful and a valuable experience.
I think that part of it is Nany didn't like the element of the unknown because she thought that she and Fessy were going to be really good partners, but it ended up not being good because their personalities didn't match. And, like, maybe Kyle doesn't think that they're the best partners, but at least Kyle is like a known quantity for Nany. Like, she knows, like, okay, maybe we clash on this aspect, but we can do really well when we work together like this. And I think maybe that was what she was thinking about, because then you don't have the unexpected, like, oh, I thought that we were going to be really good together, but we weren't.
Yeah, especially being on the season already, I guess, you know, you're like, we work well in this way, we don't work well. CT, we haven't worked together this season, don't know, like, what it's about. I think Casey said it in the crater. She was like, this was such a dumb move. 100% agree. Like, maybe they should have strategized around this. Like, okay, work through the pairings. If it's a men's day, who are the girls going to pick? If it's a women's day, and, like, who are we going to pick? Because, like you said, Alyssa, CT has the golden ticket to the final. I'm sure, like, all of the other guys are probably, like, shook. Like, yo, we don't want to run the final against CT. For whoever the female partner is with CT, like they have an upper hand, but like I don't know. The guys left aren't weak, so like why don't you want to throw in CT, get rid of him, and then the girls can still have a really strong partner, you know? It's not like there's a bunch of weak dudes left and CT is the only good partner, so like let's keep him around. I think they just royally messed up the Big Brother Alliance and the Camroy Alliance. They should have told Nany like, no, do not pick Kyle. Like pick CT so we can throw him in and send him home because he's going to dominate the final.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of is the state of the game because it was a 1-hour episode. It was pretty like short. That was basically everything interesting that happened. I'm interested to see what the final is and how they're going to be running the final, like whether or not it's in partners and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I agree. CT probably like blessing in disguise. He loses his friend in Big T, but he gets a quote upgrade in a partner and he gets to go to the final without getting thrown in next week when it's a men's day. So like Big T picking him last week was really a help for him. And this week being a women's elimination, really a help. So like lucky CT.
Yep. So I guess we will see you guys next week. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode of the challenge. Were you as sad as I was to see Big T go? Who from the challenge this season do you think is going to come back? Who do you think this might be their last season? Let us know in the comments down below. We always love to hear from you guys, and